Kavoleya hubore haaretz vehashamayim vehayam gam vekol be'olamo Baruch haba Yehovah hu noten lanu chayim Bishvil zeh ani noten kavod Bezaman machala Bezaman hara'a hu noten Bishvil zeh ani noten kavod Kavoleya hubore haaretz vehashamayim vehayam gam vekol be'olamo Baruch haba Yehovah hu noten lanu chayim Bishvil zeh ani noten kavod Bezaman machala hu rofeh Bezaman hara'a hu noten Bishvil zeh ani noten kavod Bezaman machala hu rofeh Bezaman hara'a hu noten Bishvil zeh ani noten kavod Kavoleya hubore haaretz vehashamayim vehayam gam vekol be'olamo Baruch haba Yehovah hu noten lanu chayim Bishvil zeh ani noten kavod
My name is Cohane ben Levi of the Hebrew family of Guyana. The aim of these dissertations is to cause the true house of Israel, who have been without knowledge of themselves for countless generations, and who are now being awakened by the God of the universe, to better serve our Creator. It is our hope that by reacquainting this awakening black nation with their laws and former history, it will hasten our return to our true identity, thereby acknowledging our ancient ancestors. This in turn will allow us to know our Father's God and prepare us to stand together to meet the terrible day of the Creator that He is now readying for all mankind. May He cause all your minds and hearts to understand. Shabbat Shalom Lakim. It is my prayer that the Holy One of Israel has blessed each and every one of you. We thank the Holy One for each and every one of our lives. Pray that He will strengthen all of those and comfort those who have had the experience of the loss of a loved one. All of you who are having challenges anywhere in this world, we pray that the Most High will strengthen you, help you, and recover you through these challenges that you may be having. Last week, we concluded the 31st chapter, beginning in the 22nd chapter. We studied those chapters, and Bildad was the last and final speaker to Job. If we recall, Eliphaz, the chief, eldest of these three men, and Sophara, the youngest, had nothing more to answer Job, because Job was righteous in his own eyes. From chapters 26 through 31, Job quarrels with them, proclaiming his disgust with their coming to mourn with him, seeing their words have beaten him down even more. He asked, who gave you your thoughts and words? Whose spirit was within you all? And of course, Job is suggesting that it wasn't Yah's spirit within him. The speech of Elihu begins in chapter 32, where we are today, and it concludes in 37. We now hear the wisdom of this youth in the midst of these elders. He has been quiet, patient, listening carefully. Sincerely, he speaks, and he speaks at this time with humility. In chapter 38, the Most High, Yehovah Hashem, answers Job out of the whirlwind and said, speaking to all humanity, all of us. That's why in 38th chapter, 42nd chapter, the Creator speaks to Job having little or nothing to say. And that's the chapters that I want us to listen to, because when Moshe wrote this book, knowing that it's a narrative that's fiction, and we know that this is not a true story, we know that he wrote it for people like you and I, that we can gain wisdom from this understanding. If you think about the Israelites in ancient days during this time, they really never comprehended the power, the greatness, the holiness of the Most High. So we ended up sinning against him. And maybe this is another way that Moses is teaching us through these writings that we did not understand when we were first introduced to the Most High, who brought us up out of the land of Egypt. Elihu maintains afflictions are meant for good, and suffering builds trust. What do you think? He feels that we learn how to cope when we have problems with the next problem. He says, even when things that happen to us are not the consequences of sin. He also reproves Job's correction for justifying himself rather than Yah or the Almighty. Elihu teaches us in his words, as we'll screen and see, and you all would agree, it's good to be alive. With life, there's hope. In the day of one's death, your thoughts perish with you. Elihu is teaching us that in this whole story, that trouble makes us wiser, stronger, and more knowledgeable about life. It also lets us know how dependent we are on the Most High when we're in trouble. He's our deliverer. Trouble is humbling. I find that many times people who operate with a high hand, when Yah puts affliction upon them, that's how they straighten up. Imagine what the world would be like if the wicked didn't have anyone to chastise them, to punish them, and put them in their place. We've had readers. Job has been read by our brother Yivareka Yahu. Eli Paz, who is no longer going to speak because they're all silent right now, was read by Cohane Eliel. Again, we had Bildad, was read by Moreh Kesquiyahu. And as the character Bildad was, his conversation was contentious. Again, when we think about the brother Sophar, it's called Zophar, our brother Daoud read those lines, and his name means to siren, like a sound of a horn, or to turn. Elihu will be read by our brother Youth, one of our regular readers on our program, Yaakov, and the portion of, again, the creator will be read by our reader, chief reader, Yivareka Yahu. So we thank all of them, and at this time we want to go in to the study of the 32nd chapter, and we all know that verses 1 to 5 or so was spoken of, telling us the background, why he was speaking and angry with Job and with his three friends. I've just mentioned that. And so he has been sitting, and remember, they have nothing more to say. They're disgusted because Job continues to speak of his righteousness. He's innocent, he did nothing wrong. So they're tired of speaking, but not Elihu. He's been waiting, listening, and now he speaks and says,
And Elihu the son of Barakel, the Buzite, answered and said, I am young, and ye are very old. Wherefore I held back and durst not declare you mine opinion.
In other words, I want you to know that they translated this word as opinion, but that's not what it says in Hebrew. And in Hebrew, it says that he's going to share his knowledge, because it used the word de'i, or da'at is the root of the word. He's not speaking about opinion. We always have opinions, and that's why Christianity, they love that line, but it's not speaking about opinion. So you can't have an opinion about God and what's right in his eyesight. You might think you have knowledge, but Job is going to be shown he's speaking without knowledge. He goes on to say,
I said, days should speak, and multitude of years should teach wisdom. But it is the spirit in man, and the breath of the Almighty that giveth them understanding.
And that's a very powerful thought. It's not that. And look at those words in Hebrew. They have the word atim shishim, shishim, yeshishim. Shishim is 60, but yeshishim means that these are old men that are respected. And more than likely, they're over 60 years of age, because in the end of this story, we're going to see that another 140 years is going to be added to Eob's, they call him Job, Eob's the life. And so this story, it's really about, in the writing, a period of over 200 years. Job lived over 200 years, according to this narrative written, we believe, by Moshe. He goes on to say,
it is not the great that are wise.
Age has nothing to do with wisdom, and he's right. See, that's what we're doing now. We're seeing if we can agree with the wisdom and the understanding, the knowledge of these three men. Some places they're wrong, the three men, but Job is out of place in certain areas. But there's wisdom that we can extract, and we're going to find out where they all went wrong, it says.
Nor the age that discern judgment. Therefore I say, hearken to me. I also would declare mine opinion.
His knowledge.
Behold, I waited for your words. I listened for your reasons, whilst you searched out what to say.
In other words, I've been here every day, listening carefully.
Yea, I attended unto you.
I paid attention.
And behold, there was none that convinced Job.
Very key thing. He said, you all, that's why they're quiet now, because they have not convinced Job of anything. Tamshi
Or they answer his words among you.
gave him an answer to those things he was saying out of his mouth.
Beware lest ye say, we have found wisdom. Y'all may vanquish him, not man.
He said, you are not the ones that's going to defeat him in the battle of words and the argument. He said, the one that's going to vanquish him, conquer him, and defeat him is the Most High. He's going to cause him to submit and have a submission to truth, like he does with every human being.
For he hath not directed his words against me.
He's not speaking to me and you.
Neither will I answer him with your speech.
He said, I'm not going to speak and answer like you all been saying. I'm going to say as you will see. I'm going to give the glory to the Most High.
They are amazed. They answer no more. Words are departed from them.
They can't speak anymore. They've ran out of answers for you because you're declaring you're righteous.
Shall I wait because they speak not, because they stand still and answer no more? I also will answer my part.
And it's obvious because that's who we're listening to now, Elihu. His name means Elihu, my power. He is my power. Meaning who? Yah, Elohim, he is my power. Come see.
I also will declare mine opinion, for I am full of words.
And in Hebrew, nowhere, dei, there it is. That's what he's angry. He's disgusted with these elders, but he's showing respect, humility, but he's expressing himself, and he's going to let them know, I'm going to speak my mind.
The spirit within me constraineth me. Behold, mine inwards are as wine which have no vent.
In other words, they compel me. His spirit is compelling him, in other words, to speak. He can't hold it in. It's like a wine in a bottle. It's going to burst. I got to let it out. I listen long enough. Like new skins,
which are ready to burst. I will speak that I may find relief.
I got to get some satisfaction, some relief in my soul and my spirit.
I will open my lips and answer. Let me not, I pray you, respect any man's person. Neither will I give flattering titles unto any man.
He said, I'm not going to be the one that's going to acknowledge you all and try to speak and give you too much praise and untruthfully, insincere honor. He said, to try to get your favor. I'm speaking for the glory of the Most High, not to you men, you elders. I respect you, but I'm not going to flatter you.
For I know not to give flattering titles, else will my maker soon take me.
He said, if I do that, being sincere and praising you, he said, then my maker, my creator, he'll take me away. I'm giving glory to Yah.
Howbeit, Job, I pray thee, hear my speech.
Please listen.
And hearken to all my words.
Listen to what I'm telling you. Take it to heart.
Behold now, I have opened my mouth. My tongue hath spoken in my mouth. My words shall utter the uprightness of my heart.
He's speaking righteousness from his mind, not only his emotions, from his mind.
And that which my lips know, they shall speak sincerely.
He's letting you know now, it's not my opinion, what I know I'm speaking about. You can be young and you can know Yah. Find Yah in your youth. That's the key to life. Find him when you're young. Listen to this young man. You'll get the wisdom of how to do it. That's why I always know when I'm speaking to you right now, I know most of my wisdom came in my youth. I was always one who wanted to be around people who spoke wisdom, and I listened, and I learned a lot. Where they're all around us. Young people take advantage of the wisdom that's around you. It's in people that's older than you, that have experienced more than you, that know more than you.
The spirit of Yah hath made me, and the breath of the Almighty giveth me life.
I'm just like you all, he's saying. Yah gave me life also.
If thou canst answer thou me, set thy words in order before me. Stand forth. Behold, I am toward Yah, even as thou art.
I'm just for Yah, just like you. So he sees that these men, nobody had a different deity, a different God. Everybody was giving the Most High praise, even though up to now, his name is not mentioned. It will be later on in the Hebrew tongue, Yahweh, it says.
I also am formed out of the clay.
Yes, he's using the word El, Elihu, and other places they use Ruach El, the Spirit of God, but they're going to use his name, and that's what he's saying. This is to the Most High, the true and the living one that made heaven and earth, his maker.
Behold, my terror shall not make thee afraid, neither shall my pressure be heavy.
I'm a young man and I'm not going to do what these men have done. I'm not going to accuse you.
Surely thou hast spoken in my hearing,
I've listened to you, Job.
and I have heard the voice of thy words. I am clean without transgression.
This is the first admonition that he's given Job. This is where you are wrong. You saying, and he's repeating, you can see that he listened. He says, you have said, I am clean, I am innocent. Come shake.
Neither is there iniquity in me. Behold, he findeth occasions against me. He counteth me for his enemy. He putteth my feet in the stocks. He marketh all my paths. Behold, I answer thee, in this thou art not right.
Listen to his answer. He says, in this thou art not right. None of them said this to Job in that way.
That Yah is too great for man.
That's powerful. And you and I have to get that. Yah is too powerful. We can't even have a conversation. We're not on his level. My ways, Yah say, are not as your ways. My thoughts is your thoughts. My ways are higher than your ways. And he says, and it's true, his thoughts are higher than our thoughts. Come sheep.
Why hast thou striven against him, seeing that he will not answer any of his words?
He don't have to answer you, Job. He's saying you're nobody. You're a man. You're not on Yah's level.
For Yah speaketh in one way, yea, in two, though man perceiveth it
And
not.
this is for us, not Job. Remember, we're the ones reading this story. Moses wrote it for a period far after his time. And he's saying, listen, all mankind, don't care what your race is. He says, Yah speaks to people and they don't even get it. Sometimes he come to you in a dream and you don't even remember the dream or you didn't pay attention to it. He says, sometimes you're just slumbering, laying inactive on your bed or sitting around someplace. He's talking to you, but you don't pay no attention. He comes into your mind in many different ways, but man, he don't get it.
In a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falleth upon men, and slumbers upon the bed, then he openeth the ears of men.
Do you ever meditate? Do you ever take the time he's asking to open up your ears and listen to see what Yah is going to tell you or what he's saying to you or may have been telling you?
And by their chastisement sealeth the decree.
In other words, that's why you're down there listening now, because he's saying when they get chastised, that's when they really sit down and listen, because it's by that decree of punishment that he gets your attention.
That men may put away their purpose.
Their evil purposes.
And that he may hide pride from man.
Because that's why man is too proud sometimes to listen. We think he's too much. His ego doesn't let him listen to Yah.
That he may keep back his soul from the pit.
Many a times we hear the truth. We know it's right and we know what we're doing is wrong, but we do it anyway. And that's what this is all about.
And his life from perishing by the sword.
He helps us. Sometimes he turns us away from our own actions and means and words was going to take our life.
He is chastened also with pain upon his bed.
Gives you pain.
And all his bones grow stiff.
Do all of that to try to get our attention. Some people, even that don't get their attention when they're in the hospital. They get in jail, come out and do the same evil thing that they were doing before they had the calamity. Come sure.
So that his life maketh him to abhor bread, and his soul dainty food.
Yes, let's listen to the scriptures. That's what this is about. It's not about me. It's about these words. Tamshik.
His flesh is consumed away that it cannot be seen, and his bones corrode to unsightliness.
We know that happens. Unsightliness. Can't even be looked on. People don't want to look at you. You look so bad. You're corroding away. You're being eaten up gradually, little by little, being consumed. Is what Yah does to us to get our attention. Sometimes he does. Some people don't even get their path toward death changed because they don't change.
Yea, his soul draweth near unto the pit,
Almost ready to die.
and his life to the destroyers. If there be for him an angel, an intercessor, one among 1,000, to vouch for a man's uprightness, and he is gracious unto him, and saith, deliver him from going down to the pit. I have found a ransom.
Now you know that's powerful. He's saying, and this is a lesson, maybe there's an angel that sometimes intervenes in your behalf and says, Yah, don't take him. He's a good person. She's a good person. Give him a chance. He said, so if one of them angels come in and on your behalf, he says they can be a ransom for you. They can give you a chance before Yah. And we don't even know that maybe somebody up there, spirit, is speaking on your behalf. Things we don't know about in the universe is what Yah's saying. Job, you don't know nothing. You speak without knowledge.
His flesh is tenderer than a child's. He returneth to the days of his youth.
You know, that's what I look about life. Seems like you come in like a baby and you go out like a baby. You just wither down, you get older. You came in with no teeth, sometimes you leave out with no teeth. Come in, hardly having not 20/20 vision, it gets better. And you know you can't do nothing, you're helpless. You live long enough and y'all begin to cause that body to deteriorate. You go in like a child, you come in like a child and go out like a child.
He prayeth unto Yah, and he is favorable unto him, so that he seeth his face with joy, and he restoreth unto man his righteousness. He cometh before man, and saith, I have sinned and perverted that which was right, and I profit in it.
In other words, he's telling Job without accusing him, he says, people that do wrong, if they repent, the Most High, again, gives them a chance and blesses them. He's not telling Job he's wrong, but he's just speaking on Jehovah's behalf to what he does in terms of his mercy and his goodness. And that's how he's teaching Job, speaking differently than those men. He's one who's not attacking Job.
So he redeemed his soul from going into the pit, and his life beholdeth the light. Lo, all these things doth Yah work, twice yet thrice with the man, to bring back his soul from the pit.
Giving him a chance, twice, thrice, 2 and 3 chances to change his way, to prevent him from going down into the pit, to stop his path into the grave.
That he may be enlightened with the light of the living.
And Job, I can imagine what he's thinking. He's thinking about what this young man Elihu is saying, because now he's saying, he's true. Yah does do all these things. Has nothing to do whether you're right or wrong. He's the one who corrects others. He's broadening his mind beyond himself. It's a bigger world than you and I, is what he's telling him.
Mark well, O Job, hearken unto me. Hold thy peace, and I will speak.
He said, listen, and I'll talk. And it appears that Job is listening.
Thou hast anything to say, answer me.
You know, that's one of the most important things in life. This is teaching us, there's a time to speak and it's a time to be silent. That's why you got to know when to listen. Sometimes you have to not say nothing, just listen. That's just part of growing up. Everybody has to do it sometime. So again, just remember that when it's time for you to listen, be prepared to do it.
Speak. For I desire to justify thee.
In other words, he said, I'm not speaking against you. He says, I'm saying that I'm not accusing you. That word justify means I'm speaking of righteousness. And again, you may be righteous. I'm not saying you're not righteous, but you have to understand there's more than your ego and what you might think about your personal relationship and where you stand as an individual with the Most High. You're nothing.
If not, hearken thou unto me, hold thy peace, and I will teach thee wisdom.
The young man can teach. You know, that's what we can learn about life. Elders. Sometimes the elder got to listen to the young person. And many times when we listen, if you speak wisdom, we got to acknowledge it. But if you're wrong, a lot of times the young people think they're smarter than the elders. No, you got to listen. If it's your father and your mother's right, you have to listen. She could be wrong. Father could be wrong. You're the younger one. It's a protocol. That's where you get your blessing. And knowing, even though I might not be right, my parents may be wrong, I don't know, don't let me offend and disrespect my mother, my father, disrespect an elder. That's what a young person got to know. It's time for you to be quiet. They are speaking and they're not accepting what you're saying. You got to humble yourself. What do you want your child to do when you get to be the father, the mother, the elder?
34. Moreover, Elihu answered and said, Hear my words, ye wise men, and give ear unto me, ye that have knowledge. For the ear trieth words, as the palate tasteth food. Let us choose for us that which is right. Let us know among ourselves what is good. For Job hath said, I am righteous, and Yah have taken away my right.
And that's why, again, he's dealing with that conversation. They never dealt with it. Notwithstanding my right, I am accounted a liar.
My wound is incurable, though I am without transgression.
That's what Job said, and he listened and he heard it.
What man is like Job, who drinketh up scorning like water?
Oh, now he's getting to Job. He's trying to tell him some things. He's trying to say, Job, you said all these things, and he's going to ask him some questions. Does not, again, the fact that you've committed no iniquity, does that make you more righteous than the Most High? Does Yah hate right? And is he a ruler that governs and he governs unrighteously? Is it your speech to correct the Most High? What are you saying, Job? That you're saying that you save, the Creator don't have the power? Does his power rule and gives him the authority? That's what he's trying to say to him. Inquisition and inquiry. Do some investigation in the truth. Some shit.
Who goeth in company with the workers of iniquity, and walketh with wicked men. For he hath said, It profiteth a man nothing, that he should be in accord with Yah.
You see, that's where he did. He was listening to him. He's dealing specifically with the issues that Job was bringing up. That's why he has his attention. Those men were just about accusing him, you did something. This youth is smart. He's saying Yah's righteous, but he's showing Job, you can't compare yourself with him. That he should be in accord with Yah. You're on one with him. You and Yah equal. Therefore,
hearken unto me, ye men of understanding.
Speaking to everybody, all of them that are listening, he's right on point.
Far be it from Yah that he should do wickedness.
That's what Job has to understand. Whatever's happened, you can't say Yah is the one that's wicked because you had this happen to you. Who gave it to you? Doesn't he have a right to take it back? Who gave you the life? Does he have a right to take it back? These are the things.
And from the Almighty, that he should commit iniquity.
You're trying to say you didn't do anything wrong, but Yah is the one who did. See, that's what he's letting them know. By your speech, you're making yourself more righteous than the Creator.
For the work of a man will he requite it unto him.
He said, he gives everyone what he's due. He gives them their fair repayment.
And calls every man to find according to his ways.
That's what comes to you. You get according to your doings and according to your ways. That's what the recompensing of a person is. There's no loss and no reward in terms of what you get from the Creator. You get what you deserve, and he's not wicked, and he don't have no delight in even hurting and punishing anyone.
Yea, of a surety, Yah will not do wicked.
And that's what Job never spoke and said about Yah's righteousness. He only had an ego about what he didn't do. This youth is on point. Neither
will the Almighty pervert
and
justice.
He don't, whatever you say, Job, you know you can't say Yah was unrighteous. He did something wrong to you. You complain about your trouble, but don't make it look like the Creator's evil, wicked, and did wrong to you. You're more righteous than he is. That's for all of us to understand, not Eo. He's a fictitious character.
Who gave him a charge over the earth?
And you answer that like I know. That's what when I heard this for the first time, I said, this is a powerful book, and it gives great wisdom on all levels. Who gave the Most High the charge over the earth? Nobody.
Or who hath disposed the whole world? If he set his heart upon man, he gathered unto himself his spirit.
He said, I'm going to take back my breath. I'm going to destroy everything I made. Who can stop him?
All flesh shall perish together.
Everybody's dead and you can't do nothing about it. And man
shall return unto the dust.
That's where you're going. So you better realize that life is a gift. It's not an eternal gift. It's a temporary gift. You're a sojourner here with me, said the Most High. You just passing through. Everybody's passing through. You better enjoy your stay. You better try to make it a long and a good one and do as much good and righteousness so you can be here as long as you can. Why? To have a happy life. Some of the Christians say, well, what is that going to get you if you're going to die? You ain't getting no salvation. Maybe next week I'd like to go into that deeply to let you understand. But I'll briefly say this here. It's your generations that's going to get a blessing. Because, see, you get a blessing by being righteous to the 1,000th generation. And let's think about this. Maybe it's possible that your spirit can come back. Can you come back where? In a good family, a righteous family? You don't know. Maybe there's things that people should think about. It says,
if now thou hast understanding, hear this, hearken to the voice of my words. Shall even one that hateth right govern?
You mean that the Most High is governing in wickedness?
And wilt thou condemn him that is just and mighty?
You're going to condemn a power so great as Yah?
Is it fit to say to a king?
He's putting it on human terms, which is what the whole Bible is about. The only way we'll ever understand the Creator is that he speaks to us in a language we know. And here's some of the language we understand. Is it fit to say to a king,
thou art base?
You're low.
Or
Melech Dawi, you're a low-lifted person. You know what them soldiers going to do to you? Don't you remember that Shimei that cursed them on the way? David had to say, don't kill him going back. This is the lessons that the Torah gives you that you have to remember. It says.
Or to nobles, ye are wicked.
To the princes, 10 princes. You're going to call them a bunch of names, they'll cut you off. You got to respect power and those who can take your life. That's why out there in the policemen, they're like them nobles. You got to be smart dealing with them. You don't go and say things to get them to use their power on you. That's just your wisdom. That's what he's saying here. When people have power over you and they can do you hurt, keep your mouth guarded.
That respecteth not the persons of princes, nor regardeth the rich more than the poor.
That's what he's saying. The Most High don't care if you're a king or you're a poor person. And that's wisdom again. He's going to say and show you what happens to the king who thinks he can rule over you any way he wants to. He don't get away. Yah says, I judge him. Now, Joe, what do you got to say about that? Who's going to deal with the wicked people?
For they all are the work of his hands.
Everybody's in his hand.
In a moment they die, even at midnight.
That's why I can take them out any time of the day I want to. So you better understand that. The people
are shaken and pass away.
I can shake anybody I want, shake you up and take you out.
And the mighty are taken away without
I don't care if they're king, they can call themselves Melech Hagadol. They can say, I'm the great king. And Moses says, you just died.
For his eyes are upon the ways of a man, and he seeth all his goings.
And a king ain't nothing but a man.
There is no darkness.
A great singer ain't nothing but a man. A great dancer, that's what our young daughter Biles just showed us. She's a human being like everyone else. She can do stuff that nobody can do, but guess what? She's a human being. Said, my mind won't allow me to do them flips today. And she's smart. She stopped doing it because she knows, hey, I can get hurt. Human beings don't have that much sense in the regular daily life to say what I'm doing is dangerous. We flip like her in life. And that's what this is saying. Don't flip and kill yourself.
There is no darkness, nor shadow of death, where the workers of iniquity may hide themselves.
Said there's no place you can hide if y'all want to take you out. And that's talking to you and me. It makes me humble just reading it because I know it's true. We can leave here, this program and over, and you go and they tell me a person was standing up, reading the 23rd Psalm and they died. That was 2 weeks ago I heard that. It says.
For he doth not appoint a time unto any man when he should go before Yah in judgment.
You don't have a time, in other words, where you know that's your day. You can be taken out and you don't know when, where, or how.
He breaketh in pieces mighty men without inquisition.
Without any type of investigation. I take him out without a reason. He said, I don't care. I'm the Most High.
Instead of others in their stead.
I'll put somebody in your stead. That's right. I'll take you away and put someone who say, well, you can make somebody else be a husband to my wife. Yes, I can. You can make someone else be a king to my queen. Yes, I can. You can make someone else be take my place, be the wife of a man because she's evil. Yes, I can. I'll take anybody out and let somebody take your place. Priest, anybody. I don't care who it is. He rules the universe. And nobody tells him nothing, and there's nobody that can inquire and say, what you doing, Most High. Therefore,
he taketh knowledge of their works, and he overturneth them in the night, so that they are crushed.
Man, give you a bad dream.
He striketh them as wicked men in the open sight of others.
But he hurt you and let people see what he did to you. They can't do nothing about it, neither can you. Because
they turned aside from following.
Because that's the reason why they didn't do it. He's not saying, Job, you turned aside. He's comparing what happens to people and show you the goodness, the mercy of Yah, and how he has no delight, but he has the power.
Will not have regard to any of his ways.
They don't listen. That's why it happens to them. So
that they cause the cry of the poor to come unto him, and he heareth the cry of the afflicted. When he giveth quietness, who then can condemn? And when he hideth his face, who then can behold him?
He said, in other words, if he says he turned his back on Israel, sent us into captivity for over 3,500 years, and he hasn't looked at us our way, and that's why we're still in this oppression. Because it tells you we turned our backs on him in our disobedience and breaking his Torah, his law, and now he turned his back on us, so we lost our help. It says, from whence cometh my help? My help cometh from Yahweh, who made heaven and earth. It says,
whether it be done unto a nation or unto a man of
he's
life,
the one that do it.
That the godless man reign not.
Nobody evil is going to reign, not while Yah's on his throne. It's a righteous throne.
That there be none to ensnare the people.
Nobody lives that traps the people. That's another thing Job ain't thinking about. You are righteous, but what about the evil man that I take out? Because he is ensnaring the people, trapping them and oppressing them and hurting.
Or hath any said unto Yah,
did anyone say this to him?
I have borne chastisement, though I offended.
In other words, I didn't do nothing. Any of us out here listening, speaking, I can't say it. I have borne chastisement, but I never did anything wrong, and I got this trouble, and I never did a single thing in my life. Can you say that?
That which I see not, teach thou me. If I have done iniquity, I will do it no more.
Then people speak like that? No, they go on and sin. They don't listen. They don't pay attention to those signs when Yah's trying to tell them to not do their evil ways. Shall his recompense
be as thou wilt?
In other words, should the Most High give us what we think we deserve?
For thou locust it, so that thou must choose and not I.
In other words, you think about it. I'm not going to answer you anything. You decide whether what I'm saying is right or not. Therefore, speak what thou knowest.
Men of understanding will say unto me, yea, every wise man that heareth me. Job speaketh without knowledge, and his words are without discernment.
That's what he's saying. What is discernment? That's when you have knowledge that comes from the Most High. You can't get discernment in a book. He gives you the understanding to know right from wrong, from within. But you got to earn that discernment. He don't give it to anybody. He gives it to people that are righteous. He gives you more knowledge, more understanding, more intuitive knowledge, knowledge that's within you.
That Job was tried unto the end because of his answering like wickedness.
He said that's where you were wrong. You spoke as though you were more righteous than the Most High.
For he addeth rebellion unto his sin. He clappeth his hands among us, and multiplieth his words against Yahweh.
That's what he's doing, and he's right. That's why in the book of our 1 Samuel, we find that when the Most High spoke to Saul, he told him that obedience is better than sacrifice. And rebellion, he says, is as sin and witchcraft. Stubbornness as idolatry. He's telling Job, don't be stubborn. Listen to what I'm telling you. Don't rebel, because that's a sin. And that's why he's letting him know. Don't do what you're doing. Come shit.
Moreover, Elihu answered and said, thinkest thou this to be thy right? Or sayest thou, I am righteous before Yah?
That's a good question. And that's what he's hitting it right on the head. Job, what are you really saying? Do you think that you are right? And can you say, I am righteous before the Most High? Is he the one that's clear who's righteous? Or do you tell him that you're righteous?
Thou inquirest, what advantage will it be unto thee?
What you going to gain by having such a position?
And what profit shall I have more than if I had sinned?
Yes, he said, in other words, what profit, what good if you're righteous? That's what Christians ask. They want to know what good is it that I'm righteous if I'm going to die anyway, and that I'm going to, even though a sinner dies and I die, what profit me that I should be righteous? He says, I will give thee an answer.
And thy companions with thee.
I'm going to tell you all the elders, every one of you. Here's the answer.
Look unto the heavens
And see.
And behold the skies, which are higher than thou.
So just look up there. Everybody go outside the next time you get a chance and look and see how high that sky is.
Thou hast sinned, what doest thou against him?
And which one of the stars is going to fall out of the sky, or the planets or the moon or the sun, because of your iniquity? Are you going to hurt anything up there in heaven?
And if thy transgressions be multiplied, what doest thou unto him?
In other words, you're going to hurt the Creator because you just added to your sins? He's giving them wisdom. He said, if thou be righteous,
what givest thou
what
him?
you going to give the Creator if you're righteous or you're sinner? What gain is he going to get from any of our doings, whether it's good or evil?
Or what receiveth he of thy hand?
You ain't going to hurt him, and you're not going to increase him in anything, reward him any further. Not a human being. Who or what receiveth Yah of our hands? He says the following.
Thy wickedness concerneth the man as thou art, and thy righteousness a son of man.
See, it doesn't matter. He said, you got to understand it. Thy righteousness as a man, a son of man, a man born of a woman. He said, you're born into that trouble and iniquity. By reason
of the multitude of oppressions they cry out.
That's why people cry out, because there's so much trouble in life and so many situations that are oppressing and feelings, making man feels weighed down in his mind and his spirit, physically weighed down, not just because of your life, mental distress. He said, everybody gets it.
They cry for help by reason of the arm of the mighty, but none said, where is Yah, my maker?
In other words, when he's putting these troubles, these little feelings that we're getting, you don't even know why you feel bad today. And he said, but do you call out to Yah and ask him, where are you? Can you help me? I'm not feeling good today. Change my spirit.
Who giveth songs in the night.
That's music. He says he can comfort you with songs in your mind, just good thoughts to make you feel good. He has that power.
He teaches us more than the beasts.
He could have made us dumb like the animals, but he gave you a mind. You can think, you can reason. Count that as a blessing.
And maketh us wiser than the fowls of heaven.
Yeah, the birds just fly up and go up and down. You never hear them show any wisdom, say, well, I'm not going to fly today. One of the things I love about the birds that they do, and I've seen them wash. They don't get in water like us. When it's raining, you can see them taking their wings and their feathers and all that and taking a bath. But they're not getting in the tub. They don't have a towel to dry off. He said, I made you on a higher level. Show it.
There they cry, but none giveth answer, because of the pride of evil men. Surely Yah will not hear vanity, neither will the Almighty regard it.
He's not going to listen to your empty words, Joe. He's not going to come and talk to you. Who are you that he should come and have a conversation with us?
Yea, thou sayest thou canst not see him. The cause is before him. Therefore wait thou.
He said, you can't see him, but guess what? He sees you. He knows what you're going through. That's sufficient.
And now, is it for naught that he punished in his anger? And hath he not full knowledge of arrogance?
He knows when people speak in a way that's disrespectful, that Job, you didn't give him all the glory that was due to him. But Job doth open his mouth in vanity. He multiplies his words how? Without knowledge. All that talk he gave praise to Yah, but he didn't understand these things that Elihu is bringing out. Let's take chapter 36. We're trying to get through our portion so that we can perhaps close it out. If not, I'll tell you, we'll just have to do it next week. But let's see how we can go in our understanding of Elihu's conversation.
Elihu also proceeded and said, suffer me a little.
Let me speak a little longer.
And I will tell thee, for there are yet words on Yah's behalf.
See what he's doing? He's speaking on the Most High's behalf exclusively. I will teach.
I will fetch my knowledge from afar.
In other words, I got knowledge that came from years back. I've been listening to the elders, I've been studying, and my knowledge, I can go far in my mind and think of something that applies to this situation. I will ascribe righteousness
to my maker.
That's what he's doing that nobody else did exclusively, and in a way that answers Job. For truly,
my words are not false. One that is upright in mind is with
the
thee.
Most High is speaking through him, he's saying, behold,
Yah is mighty, yet he despiseth not anger.
And I know Job must think about that and say, you're right, babe, you're right.
He is mighty in strength of understanding.
And that's true also. I didn't think, but I realized Yah is greater than me, more righteous than I am.
He preserveth not the life of the wicked.
That's right. Wicked people he take out, I'm still alive.
But give it to the poor, their right.
He didn't take my life, so that means I have hope, and there's a chance that my fortune could change.
He withdraweth not his eyes from the righteous.
And therefore, if I'm really right, then he sees me and he's looking just like the Bane is saying.
But with kings upon the throne, he setteth them forever, and they are exalted. And if they be found in fetters, and be holden in cords of affliction.
In other words, he can put it on them too, and he can take them inside of feathers likewise, and he can put them in a snare and a trap. He doesn't care if you're a king or anybody.
Then he declareth unto them their work.
He shows them where they're wrong.
And their transgressions. They behave themselves proud.
So he punishes to teach, is what he's saying many times, so that you can change your way.
He openeth also their ear to discipline.
That's when they listen, and that's when they get control and begin to have self-control again and don't live that wild life like many of us do, not thinking about what we're going to do and not considering the consequences. There are consequences.
And commendeth that they return from iniquity.
You know how many people are listening that have consequences based on actions that were done prior to what you experienced in the trouble and the affliction? That's what we have to learn, because you don't want to repeat that. You can have as many afflictions in your life as you want. And if you're smart, you try to have as few as you can by doing the right thing.
If they hearken and serve him, they shall spend their days in prosperity and their years in pleasure.
Even if it's a king, if they do the right thing, things will go well. But even if you're a righteous person, you're still going to get trouble. So understand that.
But if they hearken not, they shall perish by the sword.
If you never got any trouble, you probably got any trouble that make you a different person. That trouble makes you humble and makes you acknowledge the Most High. You need him. Everybody needs him to deliver them at some time or another.
They shall die without knowledge.
Because they didn't change their ways. But
they that are godless in heart lay up anger. They cry not for help when he bindeth them.
That's why some people, when they're afflicted, they don't even ask for help. They get arrogant.
Their soul perish in you.
And that's why the young people that's listening, this is to you. If you get this wisdom now, do you know what you have in terms of a bright future ahead of you? You're not going to make the mistakes. You're not going to do things that you know, because you already understand that doesn't matter who you are, the Most High can put his hand on you. There's nothing you can do in the dark that he won't bring to the light. When you get all those understanding, it makes you operate and live your life differently. And then you're going to see that he'll always deliver you out of your trouble because you tried to do right. When you get in trouble, everybody gets it. He's going to take you out of it. And he's going to give you the strength and the comfort to deal with whatever you're dealing with in life. He's going to be with you. Tamshi.
And their life is that of the depraved. He delivereth the afflicted by his affliction, and openeth their ear by tribulation. Yea, he hath allured thee out of distress,
Yes.
into a broad place where there is no straightness. And that which is set on thy table is full of fatness, and thou art full of the judgment of the wicked. Judgment and justice take hold on them.
That's what happens. He's just telling what happened to wicked people. So beware.
Of wrath, lest thou be led away by thy sufficiency.
In other words, if you want to be a violent person, there's a person more violent than you, and you get your sufficient share of it if you choose that path.
Neither let the greatness of the ransom turn thee aside. Will thy riches avail that are without stint?
He said, your money's not going to help you when I put my hand on you. He just wants you to know that there's certain things that you have to understand, that you can't stay the hand of the Most High.
For all the forces of thy strength, desire not the night, when people's cut off from their place. Take heed, regard not iniquity, for this hast thou chosen rather than affliction.
He said, in other words, don't be a person that choose to have affliction because you don't want to turn away from iniquity. The Most High is watching everything and everybody. He says, behold,
Yah doeth lofty in his power.
that's right. He do great things in his power. He's not, if he's on high, but he's a righteous teacher. Who is
A teacher like unto him.
nobody can teach you like Yah.
Who hath enjoined him his way?
In other words, who have given him his powers, like the teacher says to the class of students, and during him, he says, silence in the classroom now. Because the teacher has the authority. He says, Yah is the same way. That when he enjoins or puts his power out by whatever means, speech or action, he said, you gotta humble yourself and be quiet and listen. He enjoins himself in his way. He has power that's all connected with all the powers, everything, rain, snow, you name it, wind, storm. He said they're all connected, they're all in his hand, they're enjoying power. You can't go against that.
Or who hath said, thou hast wrought unrighteousness?
In other words, you could say, you shouldn't have rained. I'm reaping today, yo. It's unrighteous for you to let it rain at this time. Tell him that and see if it stops.
Remember that thou magnify his word, whereof men have
He
sung.
said you should be uplifting him and not trying to challenge him. Tell shit.
All men have looked their own. Man beholdeth it afar off. Behold, Yah is great beyond our knowledge.
Don't care where you are on this earth. The Most High is great and everybody knows it. If you're talking about the power that rules this universe, send the thunder, the lightning, because it's going to come up to let you know how powerful he is. That's why the reader can read. It's self-explanatory. The number of his years,
Is unsearchable,
you never going to know how old Yah is. Tumshi.
for he draweth away the drops of water,
He control everything. Bring water in and bring water out.
which distill rain from his
He
face.
said, man, he said, I can make it rain, I can make it stop, I can make it lightly rain, I can make it pour down rain.
Which the skies pour down and drop upon the multitudes of men.
Everybody gets wet and nobody can say it's not raining on me.
Yea, can any understand the spreadings of the clouds,
Do you understand that science?
the crashing of his pavilion?
And how them things work up there, them clouds, they call houses. They, in other words, pavilions, they break up and do whatever he wants. He built houses of clouds and break them up anytime he wants to.
Behold, he spreadeth his light upon it, and he covereth the depths of the sea. For by these he judges the peoples. He giveth food in abundance.
And man, he decides who's going to starve, drought. That's what's on the planet right now. He's causing drought in some places, food abundantly in others, a sunshine in other places, too much sun. The temperatures is burning man up over 100 and something degrees. And there's places where people are cold. Everybody's getting whatever they get from his hand. No one can stop it.
He covereth his hands with the lightning.
What? Lightning, he covered that with, I know my hand better not get in your hand, better not get in the way of lightning. No part of your body.
And giveth it a charge that it strike the
He
mark.
telling what to hit. Hit the tree, hit the house. The Most High is telling the lightning what to hit and what not to hit. Now you think you're gonna deal with that? You tell the lightning don't do this, that, and see will it respond to you and your voice.
The noise thereof telleth concerning it.
It lets you know, even the animals, I'm coming, because thunder's right behind me. That's why they call thunder and lightning.
The cattle also concerning the storm that cometh up.
They animals even know before man's supposed to be so intelligent, the animals know it better than even before we do, it says.
At this also my heart trembleth, and is moved out of its place.
I shake.
Hear attentively the noise of his voice, and the sound that goeth out of his mouth. He sendeth it far forth under the whole heaven.
Man, you know that metaphor? You know, think of your mouth. This don't really mean mouth. That's why we tell you these are similes, these are metaphors, comparing nature and all of these different things, the hills with the sea and man and animals, because he's trying to teach us through the mind that we have. You'll never understand it on the creator's level. This is just words to get us to understand the comparison, the way we can relate to it on a human level. You'll never understand it the way it's understood by the Almighty.
And his lightning unto the ends of the earth. After a voice roared, he thundered with the voice of his majesty.
We call it thunder. He calls it a voice. They say that's the Most High speaking.
And he stayeth them not when his voice is heard. Yah thundereth marvelously with his voice.
And that's the only way. He don't have a voice like you and me. Of course, he makes sound. You might call it a call, but he don't have an image. He's not like us. He's not speaking through a mouth that's made of earth, clay, dust. This is a spiritual being. Come shit.
Great things doeth he, which we cannot comprehend.
That's another powerful thing. Some things we'll never understand it. It's beyond human comprehension.
For he saith to the snow, fall thou on the earth. Likewise to the shower of rain, and to the showers of his mighty
You know,
rain.
I never knew he took. That's true though. We just look up, that weatherman says, you know, I think it's gonna snow today. He only thinking it is, or he thinking it's gonna rain, or he put a false prognosticator. He's pronouncing, in other words, that's going, and you know it don't happen so many times. The weather be the opposite of what the weatherman said, but not when Yehovah, not when the Most High, not when Hashem puts his word on it. Come see.
He sealeth up the hand of every man, that all men whom he hath made may know it.
He can stop you from doing anything he wants to.
Then the beasts go into covers and remain in their dens.
He said, when I do my thing, Most High sends destruction and send heavy rains. He said, even the animals, they go inside in their chambers, in their coverts, hidden places.
Out of the chamber cometh the storm.
What chamber?
And cold out of the north.
I didn't know cold come out the north like that, but who sends it and how does it get started? I mean, it's summer. How does summer go from summer into winter and into all these seasons? Most High saying, I do it.
By the breath of Yah, ice is given.
He breathed out ice. He's just doing it metaphorically to let you know he controls it, starts with him.
And the breath of the waters is straight.
He can narrow it or widen it, make it a stream, make it a dry or river, or he can have it overflow. I control it all, is what the youth Elihu is telling them.
Yea, he letteth the thick cloud with moisture.
He's telling the greatness of Yah. He spreadeth abroad the cloud of his lightning.
He spreadeth abroad the cloud of his lightning, and they are turned round about by his guidance.
He guiding everything that's happening in the universe.
That they may do whatsoever he commandeth.
Listen to this, Job, and he is listening. Job is saying, I ain't got nothing to say about this, man.
Upon the face of the habitable world.
Anything that happens where people live, Yah controls it. Whether it be for
correction
or
for his earth.
To give some what? Mercy?
That he calls it to come.
He makes it happen. Hearken unto this.
O Job.
Job, stand still, be quiet.
And consider the wondrous works of Yah.
And that's what we all are considering here. It's not for him, it's for us. Are you considering like I am? This is a great King Yah that we serve.
Dost thou know how Yah enjoineth them and causeth the lightning of his cloud to
How
shine?
is all these powers connected?
Dost thou know the balancing of the cloud?
In other words, he got everything weighed out properly. Nothing gets out of its place. Everything does what it's made to do and in harmony with all the other creation. The wind don't say, I'm gonna blow today, and Yah didn't say don't blow. The rain don't fall, and he didn't say don't fall. He said, I control it all.
The wondrous works of him who is perfect in knowledge.
Oh man, that's a powerful line. Job probably heard that one more than any. Perfect in knowledge. Which human being can say they have that? Tamim beda'at. Tamimim beda'at.
Thou whose garments are worn, when the earth is still by reason of the south
Creator don't
wind.
have on no garments. He's just come doing that as a metaphor to let you know, like, he don't get cold like we do when the cold comes. He don't have to put on a coat like us.
Canst thou with him spread out the sky, which is strong as a molten
Can
mirror?
you do that, Job?
Teach us what we shall say unto him.
Tell us how you teach Yah.
Now order our speech by reason of darkness.
He's saying we're too dumb. We don't know enough to tell Yah anything.
Shall it be told him that I would speak?
Moses is teaching the whole world. If they only read this in Christianity, there would be no Christianity, but they don't want to get the truth of these words. Nobody but the people that were chosen, we even rejected it. That's our reason for being oppressed today. Until we go back to this power and understand how great he is, we will be in this predicament.
Or should a man wish that he were swallowed up?
In other words, you don't do that Torah, you might as well be swallowed up.
And now, men, see not the light, And now men see not the light which is bright in the sky.
You don't see the wisdom, the glory of the Most High. Even in the sky, how you going to see and know him unless he give you this knowledge? But the wind passeth.
And cleanseth them. Out of the north cometh golden splendor. About Yah's terrible
You know
majesty.
it's not the sun. So he's just letting you know that I can bring it from any direction.
The Almighty whom we cannot find out is excellent in power.
And when Eyob hears that, his spirit is changing. You're going to see that happen as we come to the end of the words of Elihu.
Yet to judgment and plenteous justice. He doeth no violence.
He does nothing wrong. Again, he does all this, but he does it in righteousness.
Men do therefore fear him. He regarded not any that are wise of heart.
And that's when this young youth, Elihu, has caused the Most High to come in and is about to speak his words. And we're going to listen to a piece of music that we have selected, and then we'll hear from the Most High's words in this book of Eyob, called the book of Job, the patience of Job.
See, I know someone who's much higher, 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 higher. Oh yeah, I know someone who's much higher, 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 higher. Yeah, I know someone who's much higher, 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 higher. When I seen wrong prospering wherever they go, I envied the wicked so much that my feet were gone. But now I hold on to someone I know is strong. He my rock and fortress. I put my trust in Yahweh. Then you and me, that the whole world can see. Oh yeah, my King here, he protect us all, and he heard my call. No. He got a lie. Is his ear heavy to where he will not hear? Is his arm shortened to where he cannot save? Cast your burden down and give them to Yahweh. He much than you and me, that the whole world can see. Protect us all, and he heard my call. No, yeah, Yahweh. I used to worry about if my bills get paid. I used to worry about all of my enemies. I used to worry about if my friends would stay. But now I take my problems and give them to Yahweh. He much than you and me, that the whole world can see. No, my King gives, he protects us all, and he heard my call. Yeah, Yahweh is higher.
I'm so thankful for Alina and y'all giving her the spirit to put those words to music, and all of those that do so. Many have not yet been heard. One day we hope to play so much more of the beautiful music being produced by our Israelite brothers and sisters around the world. We pick up our thought in the 39th chapter, and it says,
38. Then Yehovah answered Job out of the whirlwind and said,
Who is this that darkeneth counsel by words without knowledge? Gird up now thy loins like a man, for I will demand of thee, and declare thou unto me.
In other words, the Most High is now speaking directly to Eob or Job. He's saying, prepare yourself for a conversation like a man. You're a male, so speak up. Gather and gird up your loins for the battle. He said, I will ask you, teach me. Cause me, the Almighty is saying, to know. Give me the Most High knowledge. And he says,
Where was thou when I laid the foundations of the earth? Declare if thou hast the understanding. Who determined the measures thereof, if thou knowest? Or who stretcheth the line upon it? Whereupon were the foundations thereof fastened? Or who laid the cornerstone thereof?
What cornerstone? In the heavens. He's talking about stuff that's not physical. And Job don't have no answer, nor do I or you.
When the morning stars sang together.
I didn't even know they got together and sang. He's telling us about before man was even made.
And all the sons of Yah shouted for joy.
Meaning all them spirits and angelic forces, those messengers that did his work and performed his work, they were even singing and shouting for joy. Man wasn't around.
Or who shut up the sea with the doors?
In other words, I didn't know the sea had any doors. Job probably saying to Job, what are you talking about? I feel stupid. I can't answer these. Can you answer these questions?
And he stood out of the womb. When I made a cloud, the garment thereof.
Why do you use the word womb? Because he wants you to understand that they were born. And he's the one that gave them birth. It's not literally a womb of a woman.
And thick darkness a swaddling band for it.
He said, like I put a diaper on darkness. You imagine that? He's saying that a swaddling band, that's a diaper in the Hebrew language when you go and look over there and see what all of this means. You put a diaper on the clouds, on thick darkness? I mean, do you know how a woman lays a baby down and put that diaper? You did that with the whole sky?
And prescribed for it my decree. And set bars and doors.
And gave rules when to come out, what to stay. Oh, you did all of that?
And said, thus far shalt thou come.
He's teaching Job, the Most High himself is teaching us through the pen of Moses.
And here shall thy proud ways be stayed.
And you know this is not real either, because now the Creator would not come and have a conversation like this with us and then have Moses write it down. No, it's not that. This is something to teach us.
Hast thou commanded the morning since the day begun?
No, I didn't, and neither did you.
And caused the day spring to know its place?
No, I didn't know that it's supposed to start at a certain time in the morning and don't come out too early, 3:15 at night. Oh, you understand, or in the morning, we understand that it might take hold
of the ends of the earth.
Because that sun shines everywhere, and that day breaks on the whole planet.
And the wicked be shaken out of it. It is changed as clay.
What do you mean the wicked be shaken out? In a day that comes with the sun, somebody's destined to die that day. Don't you understand? Every time the sun rises, somebody's going to die that day. That's what y'all saying. It could be you or I.
And they stand as a garment. But from the wicked their light is withholden, and the high arm is broken.
He said that goodness in that day of light don't shine on the wicked.
Hast thou entered into the springs of the sea?
Have you ever dived into the ocean and gone down and see what it's like on the bottom, the indentations that's at the bottom of the sea?
Or hast thou walked in the recesses of the deep?
That's what it is, the indentations that are recesses, don't you?
Have the gates of death been revealed unto thee?
In other words, have you gone down to where people die at? Their spirits go, not that grave in the ground where you put them in. He said, no. Do you ever go down there where the wicked go? You know anything about that?
Or hast thou seen the gates of the shadow of death?
Oh, have you? I know I don't even want to see it.
Hast thou surveyed unto the breadth of the earth?
Have you gone and measured the width of the earth?
Declare if thou knowest it all.
You know how wide it is and you have all that knowledge? Tell me, teach me, Eob, human beings, anybody out there? Y'all said, teach me. You know it all.
Where is the way to the dwelling of light?
How do you get to teach me to where light comes from?
And as for darkness,
let me know the place where it starts.
Where is the place thereof? That thou shouldst take it to the bound thereof, and that thou shouldst know the paths of the house thereof.
He said, you know the house. Lead me, Eob. Take me there and show me where it starts. Teach the Almighty.
Thou knowest it.
You know it.
For thou wast when For thou wast then born.
You was born then. You know how sarcastic that is. He said, Job, you was alive then when I made everything in the beginning, you know. And that's what you and I should be saying. Are you crazy? And the number of thy days?
Is great.
Is it that great? You been here as long as heaven and earth been here? Even if you're 150, hey, you ain't been here in no time. You're a baby in the space of eternity.
Hast thou entered the treasuries of the snow?
Didn't he tell us a day in his sight is as yesterday and 1,000 years? Don't you understand? It's like 1,000 years. Human beings got to humble themselves. Come see.
Or hast thou seen the treasuries of the hill, which are reserved against the time of trouble, against the day of battle and war? By what way is the light parted, or the earth, or the east wind scattered upon the earth? What cleft the channel for the water flood, or a way for the lightning of the thunder?
Tell me you know all of this, Job. You know how everything started, how it works. You know the ordinances, the judgments of heaven.
To cause it to rain on a land where no man is.
Why? Do you know the places where there's no people living, but animals are there? They need rain, they need food. Do you take care of that issue for them?
On the wilderness, wherein there is no man.
To satisfy the desolate?
On the waste ground.
That's crying out for water?
To cause the bud of the tender herb to spring forth.
He said, you do that in all those places where you don't even know nothing about and human beings have never been there. It's uninhabited.
Had the rain a father?
Did the rain have a father? Tell me his name.
Or who had begotten the drops of dew?
That's right. Who's in charge of that?
Out of whose womb came the ice?
Again, he's asking questions to Job. You answer it. You'll teach me.
And the whole frost of heaven, who had gendered it?
And remember, he's speaking to you and I. That's why Moses wrote it. It's for us to consider and answer. If you can answer, go ahead and answer. I'm sure people in your midst and you just like I or anyone else, if you speak now, you'll be a fool. That's all it is. You cannot stand in the face of this knowledge and wisdom or power. The waters
are congealed like stone, and the face of the deep is frozen.
And he said, I can take up an ocean and make it ice, rivers and lakes.
Canst thou bind chains of Pleiades?
He said, can you control the planets? Can you control all of the Mazarot, which are, in other words, the constellations, and they're by name a great bear. They have Casil. Can you control Aish, which is the bear? He said, do you know their names? Did you give it to them? And how did our forefathers know these things? Because they had a culture that connected them with the understanding of how all of this here operates in terms of determining our holy seasons. The Cohane had to know something, but we never did it like the Egyptians and the Babylonians, where we worship the planets and stars. They did that. We did not. And that's why he's just telling them these things were there for signs and for seasons. And again, he knows how they function, not human beings.
Or loose the bands of Orion? Canst thou lead forth the Mazarot in their season? Or canst thou guide the bear with her sons? Knowest thou the ordinances of the heavens? Canst thou establish the dominion thereof in the earth?
He said, do you know where all these planets, stars are located? Can you locate them? Just walk outside and point to them and say, there it is in the sky, in the heart of the sky?
Canst thou lift up thy voice to the clouds?
And tell it to rain?
That the abundance of waters may cover thee?
In other words, they'll listen to your voice and come do whatever you say, Joe. A man, you and I, canst thou
send forth lightnings that they may go and say unto thee, here we are?
You know, any one of us can say, you're Job, I'm Job. Answer these questions that Yah is speaking to us. In your spirit, he knows what you're saying. You know what the answer is. Absolutely, I cannot. I'm dumbfounded.
Who hath put wisdom in the inward parts? Or who hath given understanding to the mind? Who can number the clouds by wisdom? Or who can pour out the bottles of heaven when the dust runneth in a mass and the clouds cleave fast together? Wilt thou hunt the prey for the lioness?
Will you feed that hungry lion? You take the food and put it in his mouth. Say, open your mouth, Ari. I've got some meat for you. And you see how you be the meat after that. The Jehovah saying, you know you can't do that. Or satisfy the appetite
of the young lions,
of a young hungry lion.
When they couch in their dens,
waiting for food and waiting for the mother for her to come back with the food, because the killer among the lion is the lioness.
And abide in the coverts to lie in wait, Who provided for the raven his food?
You look after the birds when they're hungry and see that they get their food. You and I don't even know they're hungry.
When his young ones cry unto Yah.
I can't give them nothing to eat, that's for sure. I don't even know what bird food is, according to how Yah prescribed it for every one of them.
And wonder for lack of food. Knowest thou the time when the wild goats of the rock bring forth?
Oh man, now he's going from animals to birds. He's going to give it all and say, what do you know about the creation, Eo, man?
Or canst thou mark when the hinds do calve?
Do you know when they're going to have their babies, how long it is before they give birth? Is it 9 months like a woman? Well, tell me to count.
Canst thou number the months that they fulfill? Or knowest thou the time when they bring forth?
Any of us can answer. This is just questions, and we're letting it flow because you know the answer is no, we cannot.
They bow themselves. They bring forth the young.
Yeah, they got to lay down and have those babies. They bow down just like a human being. Animals like you have no preeminence above a beast.
They cast out their fruit.
They give birth to a young one.
The young ones wax strong.
Yeah, they grow up.
In the open field, they go forth and return not again.
Yes, he's showing you. Animals are not like children. Stay in your house till they're 21, eat your food. Sometimes they come back and live. I know people that live with their mother and their elders. They still live with their parents. The Creator said the animals, they get to a certain age and they go off and they never return to their mother and to the house again. They know how to live on their own. He said, human beings, you don't even know what's going on out there in that world that's not the world of you. Do you know there are many worlds in the world? The world in the worlds, world of worlds. That's what it is when you think about all these insects, fish in the sea. Those are different worlds. You don't know nothing about it. He says, who have sent out the wild ass free?
Or who hath loosed the bands of the wild ass? Whose house have I made the wilderness?
He's not talking about the domestic donkey. He said, I got wild animals, deers that run around out there. Come see.
And the salt land his dwelling place. He scorned the tumult of the city. Neither heard her the shoutings of the
don't. Those animals, they hear noise in the city, they go further away out into the bush, into the interior to be away from people. And them cars driving and the sounding of the drivers and the horn. No, the animals leave all of that behind them. They find a peaceful place.
The range of the mountains is his pasture.
He said, and I'm there, I see everything going on.
And he searcheth after every green thing.
That animal's looking for something to eat.
Will the wild ox be willing to serve thee?
In other words, he's saying the wild animals, they'll come to your house, they'll serve you or work for you.
Or will he abide by thy crib?
Live by your house, you give him a little tent to stay in and he'll stay there.
Canst thou bind the wild ox with his band in the furrow? Or will he harrow the valleys after thee? Will thou trust him because his strength is great?
In other words, when you do that to a wild ox, I've seen oxes the length of 2 cars, strong as they say an ox. And he's saying you do not want to go near him, that wild ox like that. He'll rip you to pieces.
Or will thou leave thy labor to him? Will thou rely on him that he will bring home thy seed?
In other words, he's going to go out and come back and do what you say. The wild ox going to obey you.
And gather the corn of thy threshing floor. The wing of the ostrich beateth joyously. What are his pinions and feathers?
Now he's speaking about birds to see what do you know about birds. He said the ostrich. He said, but are her wings or pinions and feathers the kindly stalks? No, there's a difference. Do you know it, Job? What's the difference between the feathers of the ostrich and the feathers of a stork?
For she leaveth her eggs on the earth.
He said one of them, they leave the eggs in the earth, but he says that ostrich, it sits on eggs that are not his own. He don't have the knowledge like I gave to you to recognize your children and all of that. Watch what it says.
And warmeth them in the dust.
That's right, he does that.
And forgetteth that the foot may crush them.
Oh, he does. He don't sit on his own eggs, they say about the ostrich. He sits on another bird's eggs, but he covers his up with sand. But he don't realize that even though it's covered with sand, a horse, another animal can step on it because they can't see it. But the ostrich don't have good sense. I didn't make him like other birds and like you human beings.
Or that the wild beast may trample them. She's hardened against her young ones.
In other words, she don't take care of her young like the other birds do. She's sort of like in a case where she forgets her own and go and deal with the other birds. An egg is an egg, I guess she must think.
As if they were not hers. Though her labor be in vain,
She's not going to be the mother of that bird whose eggs she's sitting on.
she is without fear.
She don't fear. She don't, even though she's stupid, ostriches don't fear because
Because Yah had deprived her of
he
wisdom.
didn't give her no knowledge. Because
Neither had he imparted to her understanding.
she don't have understanding about her young the way you do. I made everything to do according to the order that I gave it for that particular species, insect, whatever you want to call it.
When the time cometh, she raised up her wings on high and scorned the horse and his rider.
Not a fear. Even that bird that just said don't have good sense. Not fearful. Has thou?
Hast thou given the horse his strength?
That's right. You want to know. Did you do that?
Hast thou clothed his neck with fierceness?
You know, them animals are strong. A horse pulled people in a wagon. That was the automobile before you got an automobile. They call it horsepower. Now they call it engine has a certain horsepower. Here's the thousands of years ago, the understanding was there, that horse and its strength. We were not backwards in Africa. Some shit.
Hast thou made him to leap as a locust?
That horse, with all that weight, thousands of pounds, can leap over fences. He can leap over fences that you and I can't even leap over sometimes. The horse, how does he get that spring of a locust, of a grasshopper, a horse with all that weight? Yehovah's saying, I did it.
The glory of his snort and his
When
turn.
he makes that sound out of his noise, oh man, you better not be near it. It's terrible, that snort out of a horse's nose.
He poureth in the valley
And that's anger when he does that snorting.
and rejoiceth in his strength. He goeth out to meet the clash of
Go
arms.
with that horse and go down low, go up on the mountain. He says, man, he's a powerful animal. You know anything about that, EO?
He mocketh at fear and is not affrighted.
Did you make him that way?
Neither turns he back from the sword.
He said, did you and I make the horse that people get on horses to go into the war? They're throwing spears at the people. The horse goes right in there. If you was the person who the soldier was on your back and they started throwing them spears and shooting them arrows, you would dump him off and head back in the other direction. Not that horse. Y'all made him that way is what he's telling me. He's fearless, even in the battle.
The quiver rattleth upon him, and the glittering spear and the javelin. He swallowed the ground with storm and
He
rage.
swalloweth the ground. He eat up that ground and running so fast, he don't care nothing about what you shooting at him.
Neither believeth he that it is the voice of the horn.
They can blow that horn as loud as he want. That horse is going forward into the battle. Just watch horses in battle. As oft.
As he heard the horn, he saith, Aha!
He laughed at that. He said, you think that's going to stop me, a horn?
And he smelled the battle afar off.
And he can't wait to get to it.
The thunder of the captains and the shouting. Doth the hawk soar by thy wisdom?
In other words, Job, do you make that bird squire so the hawk, that he goes up so high and he soars there with his wings out? You do that?
And stretch our wings toward the south?
And you and I, can we do that? Do we stretch his wings toward the south?
Doth the vulture mount up at thy command?
Do we command them?
And make her nest on high? She dwelleth and abideth on the rock, upon the crag of the rock and the stronghold. From thence she spied out the prey. Her eyes behold it from afar off.
Her young ones.
Also suck up blood. And where the slain are, there is she.
That vulture eats the dead bodies, the blood and all that. He said, did you make him to do that? Do you know that he's cleaning up the earth and making sure that diseases and epidemics don't start that way? Wisdom of Yah speaking to us. Moreover,
Yehovah answered Job and said,
Shall he that approveth contend with the Almighty? He that argueth with Yah, let him answer it.
he said, in other words, can you correct Yah? You going to reprove the Almighty? You going to contend with him? He's asking us, tell him where he's wrong. Any of us, he said, he that argueth with Elohim, let him answer it. I'm quiet. Then Eob
answered Yehovah and said,
Behold, I am of small account.
man, that's when you know the man is waking up now. He gets it. He's repentant. He's only going to say a little bit to say, I got it. I'm wrong.
Behold, I am of small account.
I'm of little worth.
What shall I answer thee?
I can't say nothing. Oh, yeah.
I lay my hand upon my mouth.
I shut my mouth and say nothing else, he says. Yea, twice.
Once have I spoken,
but
I will not answer again.
I'm not going to say anything else. You've taught me. I've learned. Between you and Elihu, I get it.
Yea, twice, but I will proceed no further.
And Yahweh answered Job out of the whirlwind and said,
Gird up thy loins now like a man, and I will demand of thee, and declare thou unto me. Wilt thou even make void my judgment? Wilt thou condemn me, that thou mayest be justified?
In other words, that's a good question. Job, are you saying that I should be wrong and let you be right? Justify you and condemn myself?
Or hast thou an arm like Yah? And canst thou thunder with a voice like him?
Do you have power like me? Does thou have an arm? Do you have power? Chemo Elohim.
Deck thyself now with majesty and excellency.
You see that Hebrew next to it, those Hebrew readers? That's the beauty when you can go. And this is more powerful in the Ivrit than it is in the Angalit. It's more powerful in Hebrew. I can't take every word and break it down because there's not enough time.
And array thyself with glory and beauty. Cast abroad the rage of thy wrath, and look upon every one that is proud and abase him.
You deal with the wicked. I'm going to tie my hands. You make the earth be okay with you judging and dealing with the wicked people.
Look on every one that is proud and bring him low.
You do the justification to the proud, put them in their place.
And tread down the wicked in their place.
Yeah, you speaking about your righteousness. What about all the wicked? Who's going to deal with them? And will you, in your righteousness, your ego, stop all the other evil that I deal with?
Hide them in the dust together.
Yeah, you kill all the people that's wicked.
Bind their faces in the hidden place.
He said, in other words, you put them in lockup and you make them give account for what they have done.
Then will I also confess unto thee.
He said, what he's going to confess unto Job.
That mine own right hand can save thee.
In other words, he's saying, in other words, you know, if you can do that, Job, then I'll tell you what, you don't have to worry about me saving you. Your own right hand can do it. If you can do all those things and answer me in that manner.
Behold now Behemoth, which I have made.
Oh yes, Behemoth. Now we're talking about that word in Hebrew called Behemoth. They even use this word in the New Testament called Behemoth, but it really comes from the word Behemoth, which means a wild beast. And in this case, it's talking about the animal that we know as the hippopotamus.
He eateth grass as an ox. Lo now, his strength is in his loins, and his force is in the stays of his body. He straineth his tail like a cedar. The sinews of his thighs are knit together. His bones are as pipes of brass. His grittles are like bars of iron.
Oh, you don't want to go up against him?
He is the beginning of the ways of Yah.
What? Behemoth? The wild animal? These animals that are like that, you could take others that I would think in that you don't want to run up against a shark, a huge whale in the ocean. There's some beasts that their size alone is frightening.
He only that made him can make his soul to approach unto him.
Only the Most High can deal with some of these animals. He can rip them up, kill them, but human beings can't go near.
Surely the mountains bring him forth food, and all the beasts of the field play there.
You can't go feed him.
He lieth under the lotus trees, in the covert of the reed and fence.
Right, he lies in places where there's shade. You can't even see him. He's hiding under the willows and under these trees that are brushed over the creeks and over the rivers. And that's where those animals, crocodiles and whatever, he's saying they're under there.
The lotus trees cover him with their shadow.
That's what those trees do. And the willows.
Of the brook compass him about.
Behold.
If a river overflow, he trembleth not.
He don't care nothing about how water deep is. He said, I made things that water deepness don't matter to him at all. He is
confident. Though the Jordan rush forth.
He said he could have the Jordan River rush over on these animals. They ain't afraid of him. Not Behemoth. Not no animal like what you call a hippopotamus.
Shall any take him by his eyes, or pierce him through his nose with a snare?
Give him a nose jewel and make it the trap how you snare him in. He said, you try, you'll be dead.
Canst thou draw out Leviathan with a fish hook?
Oh, now we're talking another level. He said Leviathan. In the Hebrew, they call him Leviathan. They only use a vate and live. In modern Hebrew, they always make Levi instead of Lewi. And that's what they're doing here. Leviathan. That's his real name. And you'll find out, I'm not going to go into it deeply, but this goes into the devil himself. Do you know where the devil is at? But here, they're using another way. You got to go through the Tanakh to know that Nadkash is called Leviathan. Satan is called Leviathan. And so that's why I said, I'm not going to go deeply into it, but I want you to know. He's saying, do you know anything about the devil, the adversary?
Or press down his tongue with a cord?
Yeah, try that.
Can thou put a ring in his nose, or bore his jaw through with a hook?
Wow.
Will he make many supplications unto thee? Or will he speak soft words unto thee?
In other words, you try talking to the devil, see if he'll reason with you.
Will he make a covenant with thee, that thou shouldst take him for a servant
Remember, the devil
forever?
came up to the Creator and asked him, he said, what about your servant Job? He said, he's upright, a man who shuns sin. Satan said, well, that's because you give him everything, but let me do some things to him and we'll check. Can you do that? Can I do that? No.
Will thou play with him as with a bird? Or will thou bind him for thy maidens? Will the bands of fishermen make a banquet?
In other words, make him the date for your maidens, for the women that let the devil date them. You arrange the date, the dating game. You set it up.
Will they part him among the merchants? Can thou fill his skin with bars?
Can you take
wire,
Leviathan
irons?
and have a bunch of merchants cut him up in pieces and share out the meal and what have you? That's what he's asking. Do you know how fierce the devil is? Do you know how fierce this Leviathan is? Even if you take him in some of the other examples that they have of Leviathan, hey, they have him as a number of big snakes. They have him as the crocodile. Are you going to approach a crocodile? In Arabic, they call him Timsah. Leviathan, the devil. What do you think about the devil? You dealing with him. Is he your friend? Can you reason with him? He's your enemy where you can put him in his place and correct him?
Can thou fill his skin with barbed irons, or his head with fish spears? Lay thy hand upon him. Think upon the battle. Thou wilt do so no more.
You won't do that again. Come see.
Behold, the hope of him is in vain.
Anyone that tries to go up against forces that Yah made,
Shall not one be cast down even at the sight of him?
just looking at him, you drop dead.
None is so fierce a dare stir him up.
Not some of the beasts that he's made in this world.
Who then is able to stand before me?
If you can't stand before the animals I made, how are you going to stand before its maker, the creator?
Who had given me anything beforehand that I should repay him?
In other words, what I owe you, Job, what I owe any of you listening out there, what I owe you, you don't owe me nothing.
Whatsoever is
for
on,
giving me life and the gifts and the blessings in life.
whatsoever is under the whole heaven is mine.
Didn't you hear what our sister Lena said? He's higher and higher.
Will I keep silence concerning his boastings, or his proud talk,
In
or
other words,
speak array of
with
words?
most of you can shut his mouth. Go ahead.
Who can uncover the face of his garments? Who shall come within his double bridle?
And now he's telling you about that Leviathan. He's showing you, hey, you don't want to reach him. Look at how he's built. Who can?
Open the doors of his face?
In other words, you go and open up the door. His face got a doors. You got to pull something to see his face.
Round about his teeth is terror. His scales are his pride.
You don't want to meet this creature.
Shut up together as with a closed seal.
He said, man, that's the skin. To pull a scale off him, he says, you cannot do it. It's like iron.
One is so close, so near to another that no air can come between
No
them.
air can't even get in this creature that I made. You want to deal with him?
They are joined one to another. They stick together, that they cannot be sundered.
You can't even take his skin apart. The strength of those coverings on his body, you can't deal with.
His sneezings flash forth light.
He said when he sneezed, you didn't read this creature yet. That's why I said there are certain things in the Bible they don't tell you about because they don't want you to know that the Creator's dealing. You know, when they talk about dinosaurs, they're telling you that there's a creature that can breathe out fire. They're probably locked up in the deepest part of the earth. They're in the fire in the earth, but they've been shut off. There are probably some of those creatures, they didn't die. They're shut up by the Creator, locked up. If he let them out, woe unto us. But there's weapons today that can deal with that. But I'm just showing you, he can throw fire out of his.
The eyes are the eyelids of the morning. Out
Right.
of his mouth were burning torches.
Man, you don't want him to open his mouth, not this creature, and sparks.
A fire leaped forth. Out of his nostrils goeth smoke, as out of a seething pot burning rushes. His breath kindled coals,
Man, his breath alone is hot.
and a flame goeth out of his mouth.
You don't want to meet this creature.
In his neck abideth strength, and dismay danceth before
You
him.
better not grab him by the neck.
The flakes of his flesh are joined together.
Everything, every piece is joined together. No separation, no air gets in there. This is a beast you don't want to meet. They are firm.
Upon him they cannot be moved.
They cannot be moved. You don't have enough strength to even move the covering of his body.
His heart is as firm as a
He ain't
stone,
afraid of nothing.
yea, firm as another millstone.
That's right. He ain't gonna be moved because that millstone on the bottom, the upper millstone can be moved. The one on the bottom stays flat. That's the one that it comes down upon. And he's saying that's how he is. He's solid.
When he raises himself up, the mighty are afraid.
Man, you better believe it. You better not hope he raise up, not this creature.
By reason of despair, they are beside themselves.
That's right.
If one lay at him with a sword, it would not hold,
He don't care. You can't throw nothing through him.
nor the spear.
He said, I made certain things that you ain't got no human weapon like a dart. Them ancient weapons in that time, they couldn't do nothing with him.
The dart, nor the pointed shaft. He has seen iron as straw,
He said, that's like a piece of paper to this creature.
and brass as rotten wood.
You don't want to meet some of y'all's creatures.
The arrow cannot make him flee.
Man, you ever imagine you just walking in the woods, let's say in New Jersey, and y'all cause one of them lions to come out and he's looking at you face to face, or any other creature, you know, the shark in the ocean or the crocodile in Florida. You don't want to meet them, brothers and sisters.
Sling stones are turned with him into stubble. Clubs are accounted as stubble.
Throw anything you want at some of y'all's creatures. You can't handle it. They're not afraid of that.
He laugheth at the rattling of the javelin.
He said, throw anything. Some of them animals that don't stop them. They'll come at you even quicker.
Sharpest but swords are under him.
He said, you can take any type of herbs. He goes over everything.
He spread a threshing sledge upon the mire. He maketh the deep
He
to
go
boil
on
like
the
a pot.
water, he go on the land, he go through the rough. It don't matter. I got creatures that can do it all. And man, you cannot deal with it.
He maketh the sea like a seething mixture. He maketh the path to shine after him.
Wherever he goes in, it gets some effect because of this creature I made.
One would think the deep to be hoary. Upon the earth, there's none like his.
None like that with that animal that I made. And he's telling you, Leviathan, Behemoth, you don't want to meet them. Who is made?
To be fearless.
I made him that way. He don't fear nothing but me, the Most High.
He looketh at all high things. He is king over all the proud beasts.
Man, Job is listening and he has to answer. So we come to a close. Job has now nothing, but he has to repent. And that's what he's going to do.
Then Job answered Yehovah and said,
I know that thou canst do everything, and that no purpose can be withholden from thee. Who is this that hideth counsel without knowledge? Therefore have I uttered that which I understood not, things too wonderful for me which I knew not.
Will you do this? Acknowledge, like Job is, that he was wrong? Whatever it is, that's what we have to do. Our holy season is approaching in another month or so. Elihu will be here and gone and will be an Itané. This hopefully will prepare us all to think about the greatness of Yah, and that we even blessed to live to see that season. We'll be grateful if we keep these thoughts in mind, how great the Most High is and how worthy he is of our praise and honor, it says.
Hear, I beseech thee, and I will speak. I will demand of thee, and declare thou unto me. I had heard of thee by the hearing of the ear, but now my eye seeth thee.
He said, in other words, I've heard and listened, but he's saying, you know, nobody sees Yah. This is just to let you know. He's seen him spiritually. Now, do you see him spiritually? And all these words that were put out in the spirit of men that read these lines, and they, if they understood, they've taught us the wisdom, the knowledge, the difference between the Almighty and we that are flesh and blood.
Wherefore I abhor my words and repent.
He hates that he's even spoken. That's what Job is saying.
Seeing I am dust and ashes.
I know he's saying that I'm nothing. Now I understood that. I didn't think of my unworthiness, of my nothingness, till I heard all these words. Do we learn when we go to the temples and we are listening to the word of Yah? It says that you come to his house and be ready to hearken. Anytime you listen to the scriptures or open it, you should be open it to get the wisdom to apply it in your life. The buildings, bricks and stones don't praise the Creator. People do. So I hope we get it and will be that praise in a lifestyle every day that gives honor and glory to the most holy, the Holy One of Israel.
And it was so that after Yahuwah had spoken these words unto Job, Yahuwah said to Eliphaz the Temanite,
My wrath is kindled against thee, and against thy two friends, for ye have not spoken of me the thing that is right, as my servant Job hath.
In other words, they were all wrong. But he said, as my servant Job had, because in their speech was condemnation of a man they had no proof of as being wrong. And they had a bad spirit about it, as though they were forcing him, inciting him to confess to doing something which he had not done. And it was merely a test that Yah was taking him through a trial, and they didn't know it. We don't know a lot of things that's happening in people's lives. Don't be too quick. Guard your mouth.
Now therefore, take unto you 7 bullocks and 7 rams, and go to my servant Job.
And you know, in Moshe time and in the time that the priesthood was established, no one could go and do their own offerings at someone's house.
And offer up for yourselves a burnt offering, and my servant Job shall pray for you. For him will I accept, that I do not unto you aught unseemly.
Remember how Abraham had to pay for Abimelech? It shows you. Sometimes you can only be forgiven by that person who's offended, pray for you. And then the Most High accepts it. And this will attest to Job. With all they had done wrong, he still forgave them. And that's why he was rewarded. Because just like on Yom Kippur, you're going to get forgiveness, but are you a forgiven person to others?
For ye have not spoken of me the thing that is right, as my servant Job had.
Job spoke more righteousness than you did, and he was more on point. His wrong was the fact that he tried to justify himself and show his righteousness above the righteousness of the Most High. Come see.
So Eliphaz the Temanite, and Bildad the Shuhite, and Zophar the Naamathite went.
Those were his 3 friends and did just what they were told to do. Obedience is better than sacrifice.
And did according as Yahuwah commanded them.
And what happened?
Yahuwah accepted Job.
He accepted Job because, again, he accepted them. Come see.
Yahuwah changed the fortune of Job when he prayed for his friends.
See what he did? Even prayed for his friends. He didn't hold a grudge like many of us do. He prayed for them, and Yah, he rewarded him.
Yahuwah gave Job twice as much as he had before. Then came there unto him all his brethren.
Everybody that liked you, they're like a winner. Here they come.
And all his sisters.
You know, the word got around to his family. Job is up again. Here they come.
And all they that had been of his acquaintance.
And you know, it probably took a little time for all of this to manifest.
And did eat bread with him in his house.
They feasted with him. He got it going on again.
And they bemoaned him.
That's right. And they even, in other words, expressed their grief and sorrow for what had happened. But they comforted him in a righteous manner, in a righteous way.
And comforted him concerning all the evil that Yahuwah had brought him.
They didn't do like the other friends say you had to do something, now you repented. No, they didn't go into that.
Every man also gave him a piece of money.
Oh yeah, they gave him a reward. In other words, a gift. In other words, giving, you got to give to receive. They're going to get it back, I'm sure. Job's going to prosper if you understand it. That's how it goes. You give out, it comes back to you. If not by Job, by someone else, but they're being kind towards him.
And every one a ring of gold.
A ring of gold. Most High is prospering him in so many ways. They're just showing you how. So that Yehovah blessed
the latter end of Job more than his beginning.
Ejob, his crew name, Ejob was blessed more in the latter end. That's what can happen in life. Sometimes you can have a bad start, a bad middle, but you're not dead yet. Hope. It's going to be better tomorrow. Remember to keep that hope, keep that faith, keep your mouth guarded, and wait on Yah. That's when the Savlonut is necessary. That's why they call a sick person a patient, because you got to wait to be healed. Sometimes spiritual healing, it comes through time. But remember this lesson, Yah is still with you. You're alive. Things are gonna be better. Don't give up on the Most High.
And he had 14,000 sheep, and 6,000 camels, and 1,000 yoke of oxen, and 1,000 she-asses. He had also 7 sons and 3 daughters. And he called the name of the first, Yemimah.
That's the Hebrew name, correct.
And the name of the second, Quiziah.
And her name is Kasil in Hebrew, Tamshi.
And the name of the third, Keren Hapuk.
Queren Apuk. Again, and they all have meanings that tell you the right hand, the other one is telling you about the Kesiyah, the offering, and again, the last one, Keren, the horn, again, that they're speaking about of Apuk. Queren is a horn. Tamshi.
And in all the land were no women found so fair as the daughters of Job. And their father gave them inheritance among their brethren. And after this, Job lived 140 years, and saw his sons and his sons' sons, even 4 generations. So Job died, being old and full of days.
And just think about it. These were elders. You know they were over 60 years of age. So therefore, 140 after this, following, probably a story that covers a span of 200 years or more. We want to end out. I'd like you to listen to our sister, the Kingdom Called Same God, your Jerusalem Choir. Bavakashan will close out with the Eretica following this. May Yah bless you all. One Yah, same Yah. Bear with us, our technicians are probably having a problem. It'll be up in just a moment. Hopefully we'll be hearing same Yah by the Jerusalem Fire Choir.
Was a young child, Grandma would always talk to me. One day soon, you're gonna need somebody. She'd always open up her Bible, and she'd sit me down and hold me close and sing. Wash over Moses. Sing on the answer David's prayer. My God is the same, but you know. Sing on that gave Samson his power. Yeah.
would like to thank everyone who has listened to our program throughout, and any of you have missed any of the portions. You can always go back and listen to it on YouTube. I pray that you will subscribe and tell others to subscribe to our program of truth. Once again, I'd like to thank our reader, Yob, Yivareka Yahu, Elipaz Cohen Eliel, Bildad Morey Kespiyahu, the reader of that portion, and so far Dawood, again, who read that part, and Elihu, our brother in youth, Yaakov, again, who read the portion of Elihu. And I hope and pray that all of you have enjoyed it. Moreover, have learned from it, been strengthened by the portion of teaching. Has so much information. Next week, Yah willing, I would like to address the idea of Satan from a Hebraic perspective. And many times we're asked, well, what reward will you get because you have served the Almighty? We look for, again, in Christianity, going to heaven. So what reward will you receive after death? So we would like to address that from a Hebraic understanding. It also ties in with the story of Job. I want you to remember that in the beginning, Satan set up the whole stage for this discussion. So I want to get and deal with what the Hebrew understand. This is not someone down in a place of fire with a pitchfork in his hand and a red suit. So we want to explain what that understanding is from a Hebraic understanding. Again, may the Holy One of Israel bless you. We again thank you for listening to not only this program, but for even going many times after our program is finished and going on YouTube. We just want to remind you to subscribe, to share, and we hope you like it. Tell others. Yivareka Yehovah Yishmareka. Yair Yehovah Panayo Aleka Wikuneka. Yisa Yehovah Panayo Aleka. Wayasem Leka Shalom. May the Most High bless thee and keep thee. May Yehovah bless thee and keep thee. May Yehovah cause his face to shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. May Yehovah lift up his countenance upon thee and give thee peace. So shall the Cohane put my name upon the children of Israel, Yisrael, and I, Yehovah, alone, who can bless, will bless them. Hallelujah.
Upon the children of Israel, and I bless them. Sing Family to among Israel, so na
Namedia Mishira Wafamidin to Oman Israel Namedia Mishira